go yard.
Hello and welcome back to the CFCTALK podcast. And tonight, as always, joined by Amart tonight. Alex couldn't make tonight's recording. He got bored out of Brighton's games, let's be honest here. I think he's just trying to skip this recording. But Rahul's joining us all the way. And yeah, welcome to the podcast, Rahul. I hope you're doing well. And I'm sure your week was going well for last night.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, it was going well, but I guess wasn't as bad as what Alex is going through. So we're sending him our condolences. But hey, we'll analyze this and we'll bounce back like we always do.
I really do hope so, because after Man City, I really did think we were going to be able to bounce back with Brighton and then Spurs, who we've beat twice in the league. And then seeing that first half, and I'm going to be honest, I watched the first half of the game and I went to bed because it was 12 a.m. and I was very tired. I had a long day, so I didn't even get to see it. But when that goal went in and I switched it off at halftime, I knew that this was either going to be a draw or it's going to be a Chelsea loss, because we weren't playing really well, let's be honest, right off the bat. Just like the Man City game, we never had momentum into this game. And I guess, let's start where it's hurting us the most at the moment, the front three. A big struggle for us in terms of goal scoring. We've scored, or the front three that we've been playing regularly, Lukaku, Pulisic, Ziyech, Kai Havertz and Werner, all combined have only scored 27 goals this season, which is less than 0.3 goals a game, which is just insane.
Yeah, it's very, very worrying when you think about it like that. When you look at the facts and you look at the stats and stuff, that the performances that they are given and stuff like that, it's very, very disappointing to even watch a Chelsea game nowadays, because it's like the same old thing against City and against Brighton. We played two different formations, 3 at the back against City, 4 at the back against City, and against Brighton, and there was no difference. I would even say we even performed better against City than Brighton, to be honest, because we on paper we're supposed to be beating Brighton, and with this formation too, we've had success with this formation in recent years against Spurs. So why couldn't we do it against Brighton? It just seemed like the front three, they were just disinterested. I don't know. I think Ziyech has the Twitter feed in his head, because anytime he's been he's been dissed on Twitter and stuff like that, and he scores a goal, he gives an assist or something. But apart from the goal, to be honest, I didn't see anything much from him. I didn't see anything much from Lukaku. Mount too wasn't his best yesterday. Like the whole thing. And with Hudson, I don't know. It's frustrating to watch the guy sometimes. It is. I love the guy, but it's very frustrating to watch him. He gets good runs into the box, gets into the box, doesn't know what to do with the ball, doesn't know where to pass, cross, shoot, and then in the end it ends up going backwards. I don't understand why it happens like that. It's not only on Hudson's, on all 3 of them. Like everybody in the team, apart from Aspie was the only one who I saw, like, anytime he moves forward, he tries to get the ball into the box, or he tries to create something positive. But apart from him, everybody else goes into the box, passes backwards. I didn't understand that. But yeah, the front three, I don't know the combination that works right now. It's easy for us to say that Werner and Havertz would have done better, but when they come in and then they don't do well, then we call for Ziyech, we call for somebody else. So I don't know what is happening to that entire attacking threat.
Yeah, there's some great points you bring up, Amart. I was picking up on what you were saying with them not beating their men in terms of the attackers. They kind of just want to pass it back and keep the possession, which is all good. But as wingers, in terms of Ziyech in this game, or Hudson-Odoi or Mount, you kind of want them to take their man on, even if it's just going down the line and dragging someone with you to open up space for someone else. And then the other thing is the attackers are only as good as the people that play behind them. And I think that's another issue in this squad is the creativity from midfield is lacking. I'll point you to, and I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was in the first half, Rudiger steps up into midfield and plays a one-time or a faster ball into Lukaku.
Yeah.
And I think that's the missing piece with Lukaku is he makes those runs. Timo Werner was making them last season too. All these guys make the runs, but we seem to want to go wide or keep the ball. And I think that in certain cases keeps the game a little too predictable for the opponent because they know we're not going to try and play that one-time ball or try to beat the offside trap. And in turn, Lukaku's getting frustrated. I mean, we've seen the interview and the comments that have come out. They're coming from somewhere. It's not just him saying, I don't want to be here. And then with Pulisic, we've seen it. With Timo, we've seen it. So I think it's almost multiple issues in the attack. Now, we coasted through the first part of the season with our defenders scoring. And as soon as Chilwell goes out, who was bringing the width, Reece goes out, who was also bringing the width, but they were adding the goals. And I think as soon as those two have gone out, we've seen that there is no creativity or threat from the wings or the midfield. And that's an issue that we've had for years. We were talking about it before we started. It's not just under Tuchel. We've had the issue last year. We've had the issue in the previous year under Sarri, under Conte in the second season. So at some point, I think we need to address that. And whether that's in the summer, this January window, I don't know. But there's a lot that's not right. And I think it was getting covered up earlier in the season by just winning games and things looking like they were much better than they are.
I completely agree with you on that, Raul. I think I spoke about this right at the start of the season, or when we started losing to teams actually again in December. And I said it was quite easy to win games right at the start of the season because we were so good defensively. If you notice, we at one point, what was it, almost not halfway through the season, almost 10, 11 games in, we had only conceded 3-4 goals in the league. And at one point, it was almost like, oh, we could beat Mourinho's clean sheets or the least amount of goals conceded, and which is why those 1-0 victories or those 2-0 victories or that one goal every game was enough to get us to 3 points. But since that West Ham game, I can't remember which other game I think we've only had 1 or 2 clean sheets after that West Ham game, and which is why we're struggling. We do score that odd 1 goal, 2 goals a game, but it's because we're also conceding those 2 goals every game. It almost cancels out and we're losing points where we should have been winning points. Because ideally, Brighton is a game that we should have won. Yes, we are not in form, but a team like Brighton, who have troubled us in the past, have never beaten Chelsea, whether it be at home or away. Yes, they have drawn against us quite a few times, which is fine, but a team of a caliber of Chelsea should be winning games like this. And as much as we could say it's Tuchel's fault or it's this and that, it's as simple as the players are not performing the way they should be. Whether it's because we don't have Ben Chilwell and Reece James, who are now seem like the 2 most important players in this team, and it seems like we can't function without them, or whether it's Alonso on the wing. And can we just speak about how easy it was for Lamptey last night to just go past Alonso on that left wing position every time he got the ball, and it wasn't even any skills. He would just take a heavy touch, move the ball forward, and then just run run past him. It was so frustrating to see. And then it was like, because we were playing a back 4, it was like if Rudiger gets pulled out to the right hand side, to the left hand side, help out Alonso, then we've got a big space in the middle, nowhere to defend. Thiago's kind of on his own there. Aspi was playing right back, so he didn't have a lot of pace either. But with Aspi, you kind of get that sense of, okay, he's getting older. You don't expect him to run down the wing up and down every time. It's really frustrating to see as a Chelsea fan that from a Man City game it's just gotten worse. Whereas you would have think it would have actually gotten better. In terms of that.
And it doesn't. You see, the thing is that sometimes I think the annoying part is that we are not even losing by much. We are not even drawing by much. Like one goal conceded like against City, one goal conceded against Brighton. But it's the way we play. The way we play is the most annoying thing, because it's like we like Rahul said, we become so predictable. We play one way. It's like there's nobody in the team that is willing to change it up. Like there's nobody in the team that's willing. Yes, Tuchel said we should play this way, or Tuchel has given us instructions to play this way. But if it's not working, usually there are certain players in the team that needs to take on the games. Like they need to take it on themselves, take on the chances, take on players. But they're not doing that. It's like they just want to follow whatever Tuchel said to the T, whether we are losing or not. Let's play the same old boring game, same old predictable game, in and out. Like you said, Alonso yesterday was like, you see, the thing is that it doesn't help that Lamptey is the fastest player in the league. He is the fastest player in the league, and Alonso is the slowest in Chelsea. So that was always going to be a losing battle. Always going to be a losing battle. And yesterday he was running. Alonso into the ground, and not just Alonso. Like he was just taking a lot of players on. Like what Lamptey was doing yesterday. I really wish one of our wingers or one of our players would do something like that, but it didn't really happen yesterday, and it was just poor. But yesterday there were some positives though. Aspi was good. Thiago Silva too was very, very good. But man, apart from those two, I honestly don't know. Jorginho was out of his, like, this kind of games is not also good for Jorginho, to be honest, because especially when we are under pressure all the time, he can't handle that pressure. He can't handle. Yesterday was giving the ball away so many times, and Kante too. Like there's so many issues in the team right now. There's so many issues, and not to mention the injuries, and then the players recovering from COVID and everything. So, well, I know we'll cover everything, but the issues are a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's funny you were talking about Lamptey. I was actually happy Graham Potter took him off midway through that second half, because I'm like, he's doing us a favor here. Because he was on fire. It almost made me dream and wonder if he was playing the right wing back position for us in this game, what that would have done. Because you're right, Amart, he was taking people on. He wanted to always outrun people, work hard, defend hard. And we were missing that. And it could come down to, I'm not trying to make an excuse, but it could come down to we've simply just played a lot of football. We mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. Yes, the other side of that is, well, there were fresh players on the bench that he could have played and brought on a lot earlier. But ultimately, we've played 15 games since the start of December, and that's more than any other club or any other top four rival. So it is catching up to us, and hopefully with this week, a couple of days off with, I don't know why we have an international break next week. But with that coming, it allows the squad to maybe just go away, refresh, and come back and start again. And just before I hand it over back to Mohammed, Spurs have just won 3-2 after they were down 2-1.
Oh, no.
So yeah, they just scored in the 97th minute to win it. So this week's getting worse now.
Now, I'm just looking at it, and Bergwijn just scored in the 95th minute, and then the 97th. Oh.
Right.
Top four. I know. I said a few. I don't know if you saw, Raul, but I said a few podcasts ago as a joke, because we were winning games left, right, and center, or we had a good run of games, and I said, yeah, top four is pretty easy. We've confirmed top four, and now I'm kind of thinking, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, how quickly we went from, oh, we're in a title race, to, all right, let's just settle for top four.
Yeah. It's so surprising how everything is just turned around. And one thing, Rahul, you mentioned was the substitutions. I think we all can agree, if there's something where you can fault Tuchel for, it's the substitutions. At times he's not made the right calls, and I know he keeps saying, and he said this a few times in his press conferences and his interviews, that he has struggled to make the right substitutions because of injuries in the game, or having to, bring off players because of doubts. But the last two games, Man City and then Brighton and then Tottenham, I wouldn't get into it because we won those two games. But the calls for substitutions haven't been the best. And in terms of even in the starting lineups, with Mount not starting against Man City, starting this one, could we have seen maybe Loftus-Cheek start this one? That could have been a good option.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and it's been an issue with these substitutions since I think the Burnley game, which was the first real game where we got knocked out in terms of we were doing everything right and Burnley just got a goal out of nowhere. And I think back to that game and I remember saying these substitutions came late. It happened again against Manchester United. And it's kind of been a theme every time we seem to be in control and the team comes back. It doesn't get changed. The game doesn't get changed from the bench, at least from Tuchel's side, as soon as we want it. And we're almost waiting and thinking, okay, is it going to happen? And we complained about it in our podcast too, where we said you're not allowing the players you're bringing on to impact the game. It's the down to 10 minutes. Brighton are defending deep. They're trying to hold on to the ball. They're trying to hold on to their point in this case. And the likes of Timo Werner, Kai Havertz come on. They don't really have much time or get involved in the game as soon as you would like them to. And that's a criticism against Tuchel and something he has to take upon himself and make the right calls and make them a lot sooner, like he's done. I think back to the Spurs game back in September, and he brought Conte on at halftime, and that changed the whole game. So he has the potential. Sometimes he holds back, and there could be reasons, fitness, injuries, niggles that we don't know about, but he has the potential and he has the players, like you mentioned, Loftus-Cheek. I think Pulisic would have been a great option for this game to take people on, to drag defenders away. But for some reason or the other, those changes don't come. The only positive here is we're not losing as many games as we were last season. We're getting a point and moving on. But at the end of the day, we're Chelsea. We want to be fighting for the title and not for top four. And we want a manager. Of course, he's allowed to make mistakes, but consistently making them and making them late in games impacts the ability to change them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that point, because sometimes the substitutions are a bit weird, and like in terms of the timings, like you said, I'm going to repeat a lot of things that he said, but it's it's the way it is, because the way he sometimes brings these players on, there are players that who could potentially change the game, because yesterday Werner came on and he was doing pretty well, and but they brought them on too late, too late. Like they couldn't they can't really influence the game at the point that you brought them on, and it's very worrying. Sometimes in the first half, a lot of the players show whether they can do well or not the first half. Some of them, yes, there are instances where the players have come back and they've improved, but you can make your decisions during halftime. You can make your decisions just after the halftime, maybe the 50th minute or something, but you wait all the like till the end of the game of 70th minute, 70 something minute before you bring players on. And it's very, very worrying. It's very, very worrying. And I don't know. Like you said, like Rahul said, he has the potential of making very, very good substitutions, because last season he was making very good substitutions and we're very happy about it. He makes substitutions and it just works and then we win. And like we've not seen a lot of that, especially in the recent games, because the late substitutions really don't help us at all. And he needs to fix it up. He needs to fix it up. It's his job. I know he's seen it. Like you guys said earlier, it's probably because of the injuries and maybe players aren't fully fit. He knows they are not fully fit, but he can't bring them on early with the risk of them getting injured and wasting the injury and stuff like that. Because even with Kante yesterday, he didn't play like somebody who is fully fit. Against City, to the same way, players were beating him, which is not Kante. Like it's not like with Kevin De Bruyne's goal. Kante wouldn't do that. Kante would keep stick with him to the end. But like he just gave up on him pretty early, and then he took that shot. And yesterday I saw a lot of that too from Kante. He was giving the ball away a lot, and it didn't really help us. If he's not fit, we shouldn't really rush him into it. Like Mohammad suggested, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is there. He can play. He can start. So don't necessarily need to play Kante when he's not fit. We have other players that can play. Against City, we could play with Jorginho and Kovacic. If Kante isn't fit, we could still use them. But I don't know how his selection the process is nowadays, but nowadays it's just pretty weird. Like Lukaku had a bad game against Spurs. He played him against City. He had a bad game against City. He played him against Brighton. So I honestly don't understand whether it's the board that is kind of pressurizing him to use um or pressuring him to use Lukaku because of the price tag. They don't want him to probably they have intentions of selling him because he doesn't want to stay and they want to use him and sell him at a higher price. But it's not working. If it's not working, don't use him. Like he's not performing, don't use him. Let him be on the bench. He can probably being on the bench will make him a better player. Be on the bench, sitting on the bench, figuring things out for himself because his mind is not clear right now. His mind is not ready to be playing tough games, like competitive games for Chelsea. His mind is not. Those who are ready, let them play. And he gets frustrated a lot too on the pitch. So yeah, it's a worrying thing and we need to fix it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that. I think it's like there's no game impacting subs. And I guess maybe it's a bit from Tuchel as well. Late subs, wrong timing, wrong players. But at the same time, I know Tuchel's said this quite a few times that there's the mentalities there, the desire for wins and to get 3 points from every single game. Walk into a game with confidence is there. I just don't see it in these players. It's not there at all. I think everyone's starting to see this, that there's no consistency. With CX goal, amazing goal. It was an amazing goal, whether it was a deflection or whether it was a lucky shot. That's something to that's something that can stay for speculation. But as far as I'm concerned, he's not doing something like that, or he's not taking shots like that every game to trouble the goalkeeper. There is no consistency. He'll do it tonight, but he won't do it for the next 2 games, and then he'll do it 2 days after it again, which it isn't doing so well. And then it's like when the subs come on, they don't have enough time to actually settle in and play the way that Tuchel wants them to play. So it's a mixture of what will Tuchel do when the players themselves are not ready to play the way Tuchel wants them to play, which is just causing all of this.
Yeah, I think with the mentality thing, I think Tuchel doesn't want to say it in the press conference. He doesn't want to say it. I'm sure he's also seeing it, but Conte talked about mentality. Sarri talked about mentality. Lampard talked about mentality. It's clearly a problem that's in the team. Like, I don't know what it seems like they are not motivated enough. I don't know whether they are tired or like we've had a lot of games now and they are fatigued. Most of them are fatigued now and they can't perform at the level that they're expected to. But the mentality is low, is weak at this point, is weak. But yesterday you could see, like, after Brighton scored, they were in control of they were in full control of the ball, full control of the game until probably the 80th, or probably after Werner and Havertz came on. They were in full control. They were running running our players left, right, up, down on the pitch, and it was just, man, like it's tough to see when it's tough to watch your players just give up like that. It just seems like they just give up. Like in their head, they were just thinking like, as the fans, this has happened again, and we know how it's going to end. They are going to defend, and we are not going to score again, and it's going to be 1-1, and they just gave up. But meanwhile, you guys are getting paid huge sums of money to make these kind of decisions in the game, to do this kind of things, to change games. But we are not. We can sit back and be like, oh, here we go again. But you players, you can't do that. You have to change those games. You have to change those results. But like the mentality, if Tuchel isn't saying that, I'll say it for him. The mentality is very, very weak. It's very low, and it has to change. I keep saying this, but it has to change. It really has to change. And if it doesn't change soon, we might not even get top 4. we might not even get to a four. We might finish like fifth or sixth or something. If it doesn't change soon, because the way we are playing is very, very poor.
I'm gonna kind of interrupt and just bring you guys in. This is a fact that I got to know today, and I was like, I was thinking about this, and I was saying that makes and no disrespect to Tuchel winning the Champions League, but last year in this stage, Chelsea were 11 points behind league leaders, and we had lost to Leicester, and Lampard got sacked after the Luton game on the 26th. So this today, or a year back today, or yesterday, was when we played Leicester and we lost Lampard's last league game. We're 12 points behind Man City right now. Is this a worrying sign for Tuchel, or is this the time where the board needs to show up and say, "Look, we're going to trust Tuchel because he's won us the Champions League, and if he says this, and this needs to be changed, then we're going to change this," rather than going, "Tuchel, you're not doing the job that we want."
I mean, it's definitely a worrying sign because it's almost where this is where you see the cracks appearing in Tuchel's reign, which is weird to say because you touched on he's won the Champions League, he's won the Super Cup, he's taking us to a Carabao Cup final, we're going to the Club World Cup, we're still in the Champions League. So there's a lot going right under Tuchel. Obviously, the Premier League form isn't going right, and that's something that the board always considers and is maybe the biggest consideration in their decision making. But I mean, maybe I'm just speaking like a fan here, not a board member. But I think he has enough credit in the bank right now, at least, to ride this wave. But if this doesn't improve, we have Spurs this weekend. We'd like to win at home. We haven't done that since, I believe, Norwich or Leeds, I beg your pardon, which was in December. So that's not as bad as it could be. But again, Leeds and the previous one was Norwich. So that's 2 games at home won since October. So he's got to turn it around. The players have to come together for him more than anyone for themselves, because at the end of the day, you're professionals. You got to do a job. And if let's just for argument's sake, let's just fire Tuchel today. Where do we even go from here?
I'm
There's
not implying.
No, I'm just saying as a
yeah.
board, right? Like what is their thinking? Like where are they going to go and find a new manager now that will say, okay, come and do a job for the next 6-7 months, and then find another. It's just at some point, and I know this is not how Chelsea operates, there has to be some continuity, at least for another 6 months, and get to the summer and let's see where we are. Tuchel's a good manager. We've seen it. He can work with our squad. He's only made one signing, which is Lukaku, and you can argue that wasn't his signing. So to come back to your original question, I personally don't want to see him fired. But we've seen the board don't really care about what I think or what any of the fans think. So if this doesn't improve, and I think he may have another couple of weeks, months here, but if it doesn't improve, I think it might be the end of the road, which I hate to say.
I think, yeah, it's too soon to go into the. I think you're right. It's too soon to go and say whether Tuchel can survive the wave or not survive, or how it goes. I think right now it's about the board going. We sacked Lampard. It worked out for the next 6 months. We won the Champions League, but we're at the same stage as where Lampard was last year. And are we going to do the same thing and sack him and get someone else and then do this whole process every single year? Or are we going to realize it's the players? It can't be anyone else except the players. You know, if we're continuously sacking managers, maybe try and change the players for once. You know, and it's yes, injuries play a part. Yes, you know, game fixtures that we've been playing week in, week out. You've got a squad of 22 players, one of the best academies in the world, and you're telling me you can't win majority of your games? Yes, Man City, fine. They're an incredible team. But games like Brighton, we haven't won a home game in since Norwich, did you say, was it? We haven't won?
Leeds at the beginning of December, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's almost been 2 months, and Tottenham's going to be the game that we should be able to win, since we've beaten them twice in the league in the last 2 weeks, week and a half. That's a game that I'm really looking forward to, and hoping that Chelsea do show up, because the games we were playing against Tottenham in the cup were not the kind of performances that we've seen from Chelsea the last 2 games in the Premier League.
Yeah. After they beat Leicester today, you can, as a Chelsea fan, you're going to be worried. You're going to be worried, and our home record has been bad, very, 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 very bad. And yeah, they're good. They're going to definitely come all out. Yeah, they are. They're going to be the cup game is the cup game. You know, a lot of teams don't really put like they don't put like a lot of effort in cup games. A lot of teams don't do that. We ourselves, even though we won it, you could see that we were still holding back. We're still not performing at the level that we could. But you know, in the Premier League is a different ball game. It's a different ball game altogether, and they're going to be more aggressive, very, very aggressive. Because today they were losing to Leicester and they came from behind and they won the game. So it's something that we haven't done in a very, very, very long time. Anytime we are down by a goal or something, then it just seems like we don't know what to do. We might equalize and then that's it. And then we can't go beyond that. But what they did today is very, very impressive. Like Leicester is a good side and they've come from behind and won. So it's definitely worrying. It's worrying, but we have to put our act together and just we have to win. We have to start winning at home again. We have to start winning. If we can't win at home, where are we going to win? Where else are we going to get the points from? Because even
we demand a new stadium. Let's move all of our home games to Wembley, because apparently we do well at Wembley. Not in recent years, but in the past we've done well at Wembley. So let's just switch stadiums. Or we could just take Tottenham Stadium. That's 3-point lane for us, anyways.
That's what I was going to say. No, but to add to that, Amart, we're playing Tottenham at home this weekend, obviously. But after that, our next Premier League game is almost not for another month. So by then, most of these teams may have caught up in terms of games played. Yeah. So we almost have to sign off with the win here to be like, we've got 3 points in the bag. Let's go away for a month. We got Club World Cup. We got FA Cup. And when we come back, let's pick up where we left off. And then we have a run of fixtures that I'm not saying are the easiest, but they're winnable fixtures that you come back and say, Crystal Palace away, we should be winning. Burnley away, we should be winning. Newcastle at home, we should be winning. Norwich away, we should be winning. And that right there is 12 points if you win them all. Another 3 you get against Spurs, and you're 15 points out of 15. And now you're looking back up instead of saying, what is Spurs doing? They beat Leicester tonight. And to touch on the point Mohammad made about the players, yeah, it's absolutely down to the players, but I think it's more on the board, because if you're looking at Chilwell going down at the end of November, Reece James going down at the end of December, it's down January 19th and you've made no signings. And you're still working on, well, maybe we'll bring Emerson back. We brought Kennedy back. I don't care. Go out and make the signings and make them so that we're winning now, instead of, oh, we'll go sign a young player that can develop and we'll sell him and make a profit. That's not how Man City works. Man City has been winning 4 out of 5 leagues because they do the business the right way. And if we want to compete, that's what we have to do. And that's on the board.
Yeah, I don't know why they've taken a long time. Not even any rumors or anything that they're in talks with certain players. All I'm hearing is like they are trying to recall players back. Players that don't want to come back. So I don't even know why Emerson doesn't want to come back. He's clearly happy at Lyon. We've got Kennedy back. I'm still thinking of where he's going to play, whether he's going to play as one of the wing backs or not. I don't know, because that front 3 is full, and even they're even competing to even get there. So I don't know where he's going to play.
I just want to say to your point. Sorry for the interruption, but I just want to say to your point of Emerson not wanting to come back and Chelsea needing him. We spent 2 years trying to get a loan deal. Like the bare minimum for Emerson was, can someone just take him away on a loan?
Yeah.
And now that we've got that, we're trying to ask for him back, and it's going the full circle right now. But we really need to just realize Emerson isn't the long-term solution. Alonso isn't the long-term solution. We're seeing that right now. Yes, I remember saying this in the last podcast that for now we can use Emerson, but yeah, he's the option you go to on the 29th of January when you have nothing else you can do. But you don't do that when you've got an injured player all the way from November, December, and you're sitting and you're going, it's fine. We've got four wing backs on our books. It's fine. We can't sign more unless we sell a few more. It doesn't work that way. It does not work. How have we? It genuinely baffles me. How have we still got Drinkwater? How have we still got Barkley still at the club?
Yeah, we still have players. We still have players that need to go, and then we need players that need to come back, and it's just weird.
As much as I'm impressed at the way we use our academy and the way we've brought in players who have become key players for us, I am ashamed to say we still have players like Barkley and Drinkwater at our club. Those are players who need to be sold. What are we doing with them?
And you see, the thing too is that right now I'm even thinking about who could be who can we sign, because Trippier is gone off the market now. Dini is gone off the market now.
There is no one available. There is no one available.
I mean, the scouts could find somebody. Like that's what they are paid for. They are paid to find good people. So they could find somebody. We can do that. But like the top targets are all going. That's as fans, that's all we see. We see the top targets going.
It's Alonso for the next 6 months.
We also need to start praying. We also need to start praying. We also need to start, man, because the way I don't know, against Sterling he was suffering, and Sterling is also becoming slower. Sterling is not as fast as he was when he was at Liverpool and joined City first, but now he has become a little bit slower, but he's still beating Alonso. And Lamptey didn't give him a good time at all. And nowadays, wing backs are becoming quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. The Alonso we knew under Conte is not there anymore. He's not there anymore. And he can't even score a free kick. He can't even. Yesterday, the shots that he was taking was even way over the bar. And like this, what's the saving grace for Alonso now? Can you guys tell me what's the saving grace apart from him being the only left back around?
That's the only thing.
That's the only thing we can say about Alonso right now, and it's so sad. It's so sad that he's the only option we have. And I know.
And it's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's sad because earlier this season he was keeping Ben Chilwell out of the team, and Chilwell came back and said, "No, this position's mine," and now he's obviously gained it back due to injury. But Alonso, and maybe that's because he knows there's no one there to replace him, so he's like, I'm just gonna go perform the way I want to. But yeah, Alonso, when Chilwell went down, I was like, you know what? At least Alonso had good form before this. He'll come back, fight for a spot, and stay in there. But the saving grace here is he's our only recognized left wing back, and now we're begging Emerson to come back.
I think we've spent quite a long time discussing Brighton and all that. Just before we move on, one of the key moments, I don't know if you guys saw, as had the halftime whistle blew, there's a bit of an argument or a bit of a discussion between Ziyech and Lukaku. I don't exactly know what they said or what was said because any of the cameras did record the audio part. Is this the start of a drift at Chelsea?
It's just frustration. Like Lukaku is clearly frustrated when you watch him on the pitch. He is. But you see, he was.
Some of the balls that Ziyech played to him, and even though Lukaku had to run and get them, he was very unhappy with those.
Very, very unhappy. And in the City game, in the Spurs game, in the Brighton game, he looked frustrated on the pitch. But the thing is, for me, is that yes, we sympathize with you that you're not getting enough balls, and we can see that you're not getting enough service. But when you get them, what do you do with it? That is the thing. When you do get them,
nothing.
What do? You don't do anything with it. You either pass backwards or because he got a very good chance. I still can't believe that he didn't at least attempt to shoot. He got a very, very good chance against City early on, and he decided to pass it to a Ziyech who was clearly offside. I don't know why he did that, and it's frustrating. He missed a lot of chances against Spurs, even though he scored. He missed a lot of chances. He missed 2 key chances against City, and then Brighton. Brighton, he didn't even get a ball, so I didn't even know what to even say about I don't even think, because remember I told you in the City game, the first half, he made nine touches in the first half. In the Brighton game, the first half, he made 8 touches. So it's getting worse and worse and worse as we go. And I don't know what to do with Lukaku. I don't know. I don't know what to do with. There's definitely frustration. There's definitely a frustration there. And you see, the thing is that the reason why I prefer Werner over Lukaku is that Werner would come out more and try and win the ball and take it in. Like he's that kind of player that he's everywhere on the pitch. But Lukaku is a one place. It's like very, very stagnant, and he's like his game is very, very one-sided. And he needs service. Without service, he can't perform. Him and Werner works well because Werner provides a lot of service to him. Werner is able to take away defenders away from him. But if Werner is not on the pitch, Ziyech, Pulisic, they don't do that. There's no link up between the three. Lukaku, Ziyech, Pulisic. There's no link up at all whenever they play, and that combination shouldn't happen again. Pulisic, Ziyech, and Lukaku together also doesn't work. So he's definitely going to be frustrated. But I don't know. For me, I'll if as a winger, I'll be frustrated more because if it gets to you, you don't even do anything, and you're still angry. You're still angry that the service isn't coming in. So I understand it, but I hope it's solved. I don't want it to create anything and then it causes issues in the dressing room. It has to be solved.
Just adding on to your Werner point, there was a bit of a media release or an interview where he said, "I'm very happy with Chelsea fans because of the way that they support me with everything, even though I haven't been performing at my best." And that's the difference between Lukaku and Werner, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
One of them so down to earth, ready to put their head down and actually work, even if they're not performing well, they're struggling week in, week out. I think, as far as I can remember, even with Morata, within a season, we realized, okay, he's not the guy for us. With Lukaku, we're realizing, this is not working out. I don't know what it is with Werner and Chelsea fans not going against him, because he shows that, yes, he admits it himself. I'm struggling. I'm not at my best, and he admits it rather than doing the wrong things. I guess I'm not going to, go on Lukaku forever and ever. Because I feel like we could skip the Tottenham preview and we'll just talk about Lukaku and Werner and the front three, because this is an ongoing topic. You can if you want to ever bond with a Chelsea fan, just start a front three conversation. It never ending.
Just to answer your question, Mohammed, I think the heated discussion just comes from, and as Amart was saying, down to frustration. I think Lukaku is preferring different kinds of service from Ziyech, and Ziyech was making him run, which I'm like, Lukaku, you're strong, you're fast. I don't know why you're not trying to run and outrun these guys, but maybe the game plan was to play into Lukaku and have others go in and around him. But I think, as Tuchel said, it's not a big deal. It's professionals getting frustrated, getting heated a little bit, and you kind of want to see that emotion from these guys, because we're complaining about them, but I think they themselves must realize that it's not going as they want to. So hopefully they can address these issues and come back firing against Tottenham.
I was muted, but yeah, I was just trying to say the same thing. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Tottenham, big game. Every time it's a big game, whether it's a cup or anything. But now that it's in the league, and a win would mean quite a lot, going towards our top four chances, not title chances, but top four chances now. As much as it pains me to say this, because all this season I've been saying, "Oh no, we can still do it. We can still do it." No, it's gone now. Yeah, it's all over. We've just Rahul's just updated us on the score, 3-2 against Leicester. Last minute, two last minute goals. Conte isn't gonna just sit there and come up at the bridge and not want to come back at Chelsea for the two games that we played. We could see it even in the second, like the Tottenham that played in the first, like compared to the second, like it was a lot better Tottenham, and they were more hungrier. So with that, do you expect a full-blown Battle of the Bridge Part 2, or are we going to see a more calmer Chelsea play and get the win and the 3 points that we need?
You can only get the Battle of the Bridge kind of atmosphere, if there's actually passion in the game, if the players are ready to fight to win that game. If the players aren't ready and they are playing like the way with lack of any determination, lack of any motivation, like they did against Brighton, then Spurs are going to walk over us. That's a fact. They're going to walk over us. They're going to score goals and they're going to, they're going to they would win if we go in with that kind of feeling. But if they are willing to turn things around, it's Spurs. It's Spurs. So there should be a personal agenda there. There should be a personal beef with them. You need to go in with that. You need to understand that you lose this game, fans are going to get way more frustrated than they are now. They're going to start turning on players because I'm not condoning this at all, but you understand why some of the fans are booing Lukaku and stuff after the game because of the frustration, and it's not good. It's not good at all to boo him because it worsens his mentality. It worsens his mindset because it's not already clear and you're now booing at him, and it's wrong. It's wrong. But if they lose against Spurs, expect more of that. Expect more of that. It's one of those games where even if we are in full control of the league, we can't lose. And right now we need to win this game. We need to, like you said, we have to win this before we go and play the other games that we have to play before we come back to the league again. So we have to win it because they would have time to catch up because they have a lot of games in hand and they will have time to catch up. So if we don't win this, they probably might overtake us or be in the same points with us by the time we come back. So it's a must win. It's a must win. They are definitely hungry. They've lost twice. Conte has lost twice to his former club already. He's not thinking of losing the game. He doesn't want to lose a game. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm always excited to watch a Chelsea game, but I'm really hoping that it's not the same old. There's not the same old game plan. It's not the same. We play something different. We change it up. We play with more intensity. We don't give up when we score a goal. That's also one thing that I've seen this season a lot. We score a goal and we relax and we play defensive. Even against Brighton, we were playing defensive after scoring a goal. Why do we do that? Like, we have the potential to score more goals. We have the potential we have the players who can score more goals. So why do we even do that if we are playing against a team like Brighton? No disrespect to them. They are very, very good. Graham Potter is an excellent coach, but these are games that we need to be scoring more than a goal. But you score a goal and you relax. So if Spurs is there for the taking, we need to. When we start the game and they are not performing well, we score a goal. We need to score more goals because if they equalize, they can win.
Yeah, Amart touched on a lot of the points I was going to make. I'm looking at the table. There's still 4 games behind us, which basically, if they win, they would be 4 points ahead of us. So that in itself shows you how far Spurs have come in terms of Conte coming in charge and how we've fallen off, like we've said it all throughout the episode, from the title race into a top 4. So this is a must win. There's no other way to put it. And I do struggle to bring myself to think that we're going to win this because it ultimately would be a 3rd win against Spurs in the space of 2 weeks, and I don't see Conte letting that happen. And if I'm not wrong, I don't think he's lost a game with Spurs yet, or maybe he's only lost 1, which again shows you that yes, they're dropping points and maybe not playing as many games as us, but they're getting results and getting wins like they did about 20-30 minutes ago. So it's definitely going to be a tough game. It comes down to our mentality and how we want to bounce back. And Amart has touched on it. You've touched on it, Mohammed. Our mentality is lacking. So it's a great opportunity to show that we are champions of Europe and we got there for a reason. We're not just there because of whatever reason you want to put out there. But yeah, we have to win this. It's a game that comes at a time where the season could be made or broken in terms of top 4. And if we lose this, Spurs would be in a position to go 7 points clear instead of just 4, and that's scary. So absolutely a must-win game, and hopefully the guys come out firing. Tuchel plays the right players, and everyone comes out and does what they need to do, which is to make Chelsea successful.
Yeah, I think I'm just going back to see if we've lost, if Tottenham's lost a single game in the league, which I can't seem to find anything. I think the only games they've lost are the cup games and then in the Conference League. Yeah, I think it's any league game is a must-win game, and then when you've got Tottenham, it's a must-win game. There's no other option. You don't walk out for 1 point, or you don't walk out just to perform well but not finish the job. Um, they're your rivals, whether they're 20th or first. You walk out and you win the game for your team. I think we're absolutely right in thinking Conte is going to go all guns blazing on Sunday. It would be naive of Tuchel and Chelsea to go, oh, we've beat them twice a few weeks back. We can do that. We can do it again. But you're right. It's a very important game, not just in terms of those 3 points that we need to get, but in terms of also going into that 2-week break and that long break, a month-long break from Premier League, where we can focus on other competitions, win those competitions, come back with fully confident squad, and go. This is okay. This is what we have in our hands. We can't win the league, but yes, we could get a very close second place, close finish to Man City, do a lot better than what we did last season, get at least into the semi-finals, quarterfinals of the Champions League, which at the moment looks very tough, very tough. I am waiting for that first leg of the Champions League to kick in, because that's when we played Atletico last season, and that's when the Chelsea team kicked in and realized, okay, we've got to do something about this, and that's when everything changed. So I'm hoping it happens again. I think we play on the 22nd of Feb. We play the Champions League first leg. So yeah, I'm really hoping that it does work out. Not a lot of options for Tuchel to pick in the starting 11. Kepa in goal. Alonso will be taking his position, which just surprises me every time I say that. And then yeah, Aspi at right back. You've kind of have to go with Silva and Rudiger in the back. So it's almost like your back five is confirmed. Oh, the only question is whether we would go with a back five or a back four.
I think we'd go back to back three, back five, simply because Chalobah might be back, which allows us a little more speed in the back three. And we've tried the back four already against Spurs this month, so might try to surprise them again and go back to the basics and take them on at their own game, which Conte is the master of with the back five, back three. So I think we'll start there, and then maybe if we transition as we go through the game, fluid kind of back four, back three kind of situation.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I have a feeling that he might go with the back four again. He might go the 4-2-2-2 again. Probably because of the work against Spurs, he might go again. But what Rahul said too is very, very, very possible. He can just decide to switch it up, because definitely they've seen the two games and they've seen how Chelsea played in that formation and how they faltered in that formation. So they can. Conte is a very, very good manager. Sometimes we forget that Conte is a very, very good, smart, experienced
The Premier
manager.
League winner.
Yeah, he is.
Premier League
So he can definitely come up with a solution. He can definitely come up with a solution. And this is the Premier League. And I don't think Spurs even concerns much. They concern much about the loss in the Carabao Cup. They want this. They want to finish in the top four in the Premier League. That's why Conte was brought in. So he's definitely going to pull out everything he's got in the to succeed at that. So yeah, I think he will probably go with a 4-2-2-2. But now who is he going to play in the front spots is a mystery. We don't know who's going to put there.
Can we just go with like a fully defensive lineup, not start any of our front three, and just stick with that?
I don't think we have enough defenders for that.
That's the issue there. Or else Tuchel would have probably thought of this.
Yeah.
It could have gone, okay.
No, it's an opportunity for. I think Lukaku will play again. It's just what it is. But hopefully he gets paired with maybe Kai Havertz or Timo Werner, because like we've said, those two kind of open up the space. And Lukaku did struggle against Sanchez in the two Spurs games in the Carabao Cup and Tanganga, and we were talking about it. My friends and I were like, these two guys are supposed to be not that good, and they've kept Lukaku pretty quiet. So it's an opportunity for Lukaku to, if there was any game against any other manager, this is the game for Lukaku to step up and make himself counted because of everything he said in the past and the way the next few games have gone. Lukaku, I think, will start, and then around him, we just need to find the right pieces to get them to open up Spurs.
I think for me, uh, it's a tough one, but for me, I don't think I'll start Lukaku clearly on the basis of going, you've had your turn for the last 3 games. We've given you your chances, and you haven't performed the way that we want you to. And it's not just any games. It was 3 big games. I mean, Spurs, Man City, and then Brighton, I guess, kind of a game. But yeah, I think for me, it has to be Werner and Kai, and then Mount, and it's because Pulisic is not an option. Clearly, Ziyech doesn't seem like the best option. Yes, he scored that goal, but other than that, not the best option on the field. And you've got, in terms of the front 3, you've got one position almost sealed by Mount. You can't really replace Mount in that position, and then you've got to work with the other 2. And I kind of want to see Havertz and Werner work off each other and see how that works. I think Lukaku. You could say if we win, it's a statement to say, look, we can play without you as well. But at the same time, it's like play the best team available, and Lukaku hasn't been in form, so let's not risk our chances and play Werner and Kai and give them the opportunity rather than bringing on Werner last 10 minutes of the game and expecting something to happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I would go with Raul on this one and say that I would prefer if Lukaku and Werner start, because they always work well when they start. Against Spurs, their link-up play was excellent. Like the second leg, they were playing very, very well. Their link-up was very, very good. So I thought that would develop into the City game, but Werner didn't start in the City game, and then he didn't start against Brighton as well. So I would like to see that, because to be fair, like, I don't think he's dropping Lukaku. This whole thing seems like something higher than him, like somebody higher than him telling him to use Lukaku, even though he doesn't want to use Lukaku. Because yesterday when I was watching the game, I think I was watching with somebody, and then the person asked me whether Werner and Havertz were playing, and I was like, no, they are not playing. And he was like, he left his guys off the pitch. He's like, he's not a Chelsea fan, but like he was expecting that because he's a German, he's going to be playing Werner and Havertz more, but he's not. He hasn't even played them.
I'm going to interrupt, but I just want to say I don't think that's the case.
I think that is.
The reason I think of it is Tuchel's too good of a manager to go, I'll let the board decide on my behalf.
I mean, it's Chelsea. And you remember what happened? Remember what happened with Kepa? Remember what happened with Kepa last season? Kepa wasn't doing well, but he kept on playing, even though he was not doing well. We were expecting what's his name? The Caballero to fill in, but there were these. Go ahead.
I get that. No, I get that. But at the same time, I'm in terms of the way Tuchel must be thinking, and if this is an order from the board, Tuchel must be sitting there and going, what's the point of me being the manager then, if they're going to be the ones deciding? Yes, Lukaku doesn't want to stay, but at the same time, it's not like it just doesn't feel right to me that the Chelsea board would go sacrifice their performance because if we want to sell the striker back. But it's just what I think. You could be right, absolutely, but I just think as a manager, as a board, no one's going to sit there and go, let's sacrifice our performance, or let's not play the players who actually deserve a chance over someone who disrespected the club just because we want to get the best out of whatever we can at the end of this year and sell him off.
I mean, you would if you spent 100 million on a player. You would. You wouldn't want your 100 million player to be on the bench for multiple games, and you would want him to be playing more often than the other players because he spent a lot on him. And I think that was the same issue with.
But also, you need to expect them to perform as well. if they don't perform, then 100 million or 5 million. So I mean, some of our best signings have been less than what, 30 million, 40 million. Some of
Yeah.
our best, yeah. So in that case, Chelsea should just make signings less than 30 million, because I just, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me that a board like Chelsea would say you have to play Lukaku after whatever he's done at the club.
Yeah, I think it might
Sorry.
be a little bit of both. I think you both might be right. It might not be entirely the board. It might be a little bit Tuchel saying, "You gave me this 100 million problem, and I'm gonna play him, but you see he's not performing. So ultimately, it comes down to I'm gonna have to drop him." And maybe this is the game where he says, "We need to win. I'm gonna drop our most expensive player, but also our most out of form player, and make make a point with." As Amart said, his guys, which are Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, and say, I won you the Champions League with them. I can win you games without Lukaku. Back me here like you have with the whole saga that when it happened, and just stick it out, and then we'll see. We'll get Lukaku back in form. So I think you both might be right, and it'll come down to ultimately what Tuchel wants. And if it's Lukaku, he'll play Lukaku, and if he thinks Kai and Timo will do the business, then he'll go with them. But I think Mount is the other position guy who takes the other position. So it really comes down to who plays that third spot, and it could be Pulisic too, because we've seen every time Pulisic's performed in that left wing role or played in that left wing role, he gets an assist, he gets a goal. So he is a good option. If he play in the right position, I think we could get more out of him, and maybe this is the game to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that point. But on the left, it's tricky. It's tricky. Ziyech or Pulisic, because both of them haven't really performed that well in the chances that they've got.
Don't give me Ziyech, man. I'm done with that guy.
We might, like, the thing is that we talked about the substitutions, and we talked about how weird it has become nowadays. We can't really predict. You don't know who is going to play against. Right. But I think because Pulisic played against City, and then Ziyech played against Brighton, I think
and City.
Yeah, and City too. That's true.
Yeah.
I think we'll see Pulisic. And I'll prefer Pulisic, to be honest. And yeah, so Lukaku, Werner, Pulisic, and fingers crossed that combination works, because I don't know what is working now. I don't know what would work now.
I think roll a dice and just get just assign numbers to every of the front three, and just roll a dice and just pick three from them. That's the best way to go at this point. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get both of your point in terms of, you know, it could be anything. It could be the board telling Tuchel. It could be the Tuchel trying to prove a point to the board. It could be Tuchel trying to prove a point to Lukaku. You know, the way Lukaku said, not happy with the situation. Tuchel's going to go, look, I'll change my formation. I'll change the formation for you. I'll play you in a system that you prefer. Let's see how you do. And he's done that for the last 2-3 games. And he could just be making a point to Lukaku to never try and disrespect the manager and a club in a public eye. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to look at it. But I think we've pretty much covered up all the topics for Brighton as well as Spurs. And that should give everyone a bit of a, I guess I'm not going to say a bit of a to look forward to Tottenham, because I think we're all a bit, after this Brighton and Man City performance, we're all a bit held back in terms of the confidence that we have for that game. And yeah, Rahul, your predictions for the game, I guess, just to quite end it.
Oh man, I want to predict a Chelsea win, but I don't see Conte losing this again. So I'm gonna go with the 1-1. And I'm gonna throw out another name, and if it comes true, then I'll come back and we can talk about that. But I think Lewis Hall may start at left wing back.
I thought of that as well. I thought, you know, maybe this is because Alonso needs to realize that, you know, the worst comes to worst, we've got Academy who can replace you. Yeah, I still think Tuchel might edge and win it. I think 1-0 for me. Hoping it's a lot more than 1-0 and hoping it's a statement from Tuchel. But yeah,
Hopefully
Amart.
VAR is on our side again, because
Yeah.
that saved us big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, without VR in that game, we'd have lost, and or probably gone into extra time or something. Yeah, I'm also gonna go with a 1-0. I don't want us to draw a game in the league. Nowadays, draws are like losses in the Premier League, especially if you're at the top. Because when you lose, when you draw and you lose points, the other teams capitalize big time. So draws feel like losses because we're all moody at the beginning of the episode because we drew, and it was like a loss. Anytime we draw, it's like a loss, and we have to win it. We have to win it. I'm thinking of 1-0. I'm predicting 1-0. I'm not too confident. It might end up being 1-1. We score one goal. We score the first goal and start defending and let one in, and it becomes 1-1. But I'm just hoping like you guys said, Chaloba will be back, so probably the defense will be more solid than how it's been in the previous game. So yeah, 1-0.
Yeah. Well, leave your predictions down below, guys, and let us know what you think of the game at Brighton, and then what your thoughts are on Tottenham and how that game's going to go. Thank you, Rahul, for joining us. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for giving us your time. Yeah, hoping that this is a change, because I think we were talking about this before the podcast. Rahul came last time he came, we lost. This time he comes, it's we've won. So next time, hopefully, it's after a win.
Yeah, next time we win in the Premier League, just bring me on
Yeah,
to get it out
just
of
after
the way.
Tottenham, just after Tottenham, I'll text you. I'll get you on. But yeah, thank you again, Rahul, for coming on. It was a pleasure having a chat with you. And yeah, thank you guys for listening in. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe, and make sure to add us to your playlist. It really helps us a lot. And make sure to follow all of our social media pages to stay updated on Chelsea's latest news, as well as all the game day tweets that we do on a daily basis, as well as the predictions for the games that we do as well. So yeah, once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.